Basically, I'm psychic. I have a very, very strong intuition, and I've always had a very strong connection with animals, more than I have with people. Horses and dogs are being the two species that I seem to resonate best with. I actually prefer animals to people as a general rule, but I do like people. But because of that, I do feel as if I've been blessed with a gift, and I can actually sort of communicate, not sort of have full-blown conversations with animals necessarily, but I can feel what's going on with them. I can feel what's going on with them physically, mentally, emotionally. And because I have the ability to be able to direct healing energy into people, into animals, I can also help them. No, he's relaxed a bit now. He's calmed down a bit now. It's a transference of energy, basically. As a healer, I'm literally acting as a channel, a conduit for healing energy. And what I was doing was actually applying that energy to Powerboy. When I first came to him, he was extremely lame. He damaged his left hoof, and when the client, the owner of Powerboy, phoned me up, she'd been referred to me by somebody else, was asking if I could come up and give him some healing and see if I could sort him out, try and speed up the healing process really. I said, what's wrong with him? And she was saying, well, he's very, very lame and he's damaged his front left hoof. And I basically immediately said, because I'm so intuitive, I immediately said, actually the problem lies in the front right. That's where he's most lame. It's not the most obvious place, i.e. his front left, it was his front right. And she said, no, it's his front left. I said, no, I know. Isn't it? Look at you, what do you like? And she said, no, it's definitely his front left because that's what he's damaged. And I said, no, you'll find that actually that's healing very nicely, but it's his front right that has all the issues. So sure enough, we left it at that, and we sort of agreed to meet at some stage and to come up and meet him. And she phoned me back the next day, feeling a little bit sort of excited because the vet had just scanned him and discovered that he was lame in his front right. And that's where the problem was, just above his knee. And she was absolutely astounded because I hadn't met him, but I tuned in on his energy and tuned in on her energy, and by doing that I managed to find out exactly what was going on with him. I'm looking at the gait of the horse, I'm looking for its conformation, I'm looking for any kind of tightness, any stiffness, any sign of any kind of lameness going on there. And obviously walking away from it, you get a lot from a horse. You get more than you would when it's coming at you, really, in my opinion. Watching it go away and come back, so I'm getting a good idea of what's going on in its limbs and in the rest of its body, and you can see the whole animal moving, and you can see if there's any compensation going on. While that's happening, I'm tuning in anyway, intuitively. I'm figuring out or being downloaded to what's actually wrong with the horse. So by the time I get to the horse, I have a pretty good idea of what's going on with it. But what I do get a sense of as well, I think he's had some quite heavy falls, hasn't he? Yeah. Landing on his back end. Right. It does feel as if there's a little bit of trauma in there as well. Also, I'm not a vet, so I'm not diagnosing, but just sort of, I suppose, speaking out loud about what I'm feeling. Sure. How people like me sort of work. We do everything by feeling. We just feel the energy. We can often see the source of why it is. He probably did this a while back now. Right. And it's often like anything, it stays etched in his mind. For example, play football or something, break an ankle, 6 weeks in plaster, it's better, doctor says it's all good. You're still a bit tentative about putting your full weight on it, aren't you? Yes. Or you're still tentative, and I think the same is very much resident in horses as well, where their confidence can often be affected. So obviously, with this being, I'm feeling this is probably, for me anyway, I could be totally wrong, but I'm going to put my neck on the line. I think the main bulk of the issues are going on in here. And obviously we're going up to that side for compensation, so that, when he walked away, was slightly stiff as well. It was obviously, as you can appreciate, it was mirroring what was going on here. But I'll just see if we can, let's see if I can go in there. I purposefully asked her not to tell me what was wrong with the horse. All I knew, he's called Leroy, he's rising 7, so 6 about to become 7. Youngster, they don't really know they haven't got a clue. He's been scanned, he's been x-rayed, but it's all drawn a blank. So they asked me to have a look at him, and that's exactly what I found was very much in their findings as well, which is great, which meant on his offside, which is his right hand side, his back end, that's where the bulk of the problems seemed to arise from, and I felt that it was very much around the joint and it was slightly inflamed, and there was quite a sort of muscular spasm going on in there, which was then in turn causing him to be ever so slightly lame. I think there's an automatic stiffness, I think, when you bring him out of the box. Immediately think, oh god, we're going to go and work. And there's an immediate, I think, but I went and I was about to